Okay, we're live. Good evening. Welcome to Three Peas in a Podcast, where we are just three sisters and we are inviting you into our conversations. We want you to hop down in the chat and engage, comment, like, and share. I am Veronica.
I am Bo. Welcome to our show.
I am AM. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Okay. And so, like always, I'll just go ahead and go into my content, or do we each want to just tell our topics
Let's
first?
go ahead and get it started.
So I'll just go ahead and start with my topic. And so while I'm going into my content, I want you all to think about the passings of Nolan Wells, Tamla Horsford, I'm sorry, and Shanquella Robinson. I have a small, I don't know why anyways. So think about the deaths of those three people. I'll say them again: Nolan Wells, Tamla Horsford, and Shanquella Robinson. So while I'm reading my content, I want you all to think about the deaths of those three people. So again, my topic is rest in peace, Nolan Wells. Never be the only one. That's my topic. The tragic death of Nolan Wells has reignited difficult conversations across the Black community, with many drawing comparisons to the 2018 death of Tamla Horsford, whose death was officially ruled an accident despite ongoing um, public ridicule. In response to Nolan's death, the hashtag "Never Be the Only One" has emerged, encouraging Black parents to teach their children to avoid being the only Black person in an all-white social group, especially while traveling in isolated settings. But is this the right message? My topic today explores whether focusing on race alone oversimplifies a much more complex issue. The case of Shanquella Robinson, who traveled with an all Black group of friends before being violently killed in Mexico, raises important questions about trust, discernment, and personal safety that extends beyond race. Okay, so just to give you all a little, and then to our audience, I want to say join Three Ps in a podcast as we examine whether the message should evolve from never be the only one to teaching our children to recognize warning signs, trust their intuition or discernment, and prioritize traveling with people who have consistently demonstrated genuine care for their well-being. Is the conversation really about race, or is it about discernment, accountability, and ensuring our loved ones are never left vulnerable? So, just to give you all some background, um, again, like I said, many people have pointed to the 2018 incident of Tamla Horsford. They're comparing it. She was a 40-year-old Black mother of five who was found dead on November 4th, 2018, in the backyard of her home in Cummings, Georgia, following an adult slumber party. She was the only Black woman at that slumber party. But official investigations, the County Sheriff's Office and the Georgia Bureau of Investigations ruled her death accidental, concluding she fell from a second-story balcony after acute alcoholic drug intoxication. So some argue that this is the wrong message, pointing again to Shanquella Robinson. Now, she was a 25-year-old woman who traveled from Charlotte, North Carolina, who was killed in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico on October 29th, 2022. While her travel companions initially claimed she died from alcohol poisoning, a medical autopsy and viral video revealed she suffered severe neck and spinal cord injuries from a violent assault. Mexican prosecutors issued an arrest warrant for one of the friends, but as of mid 2026, no one has been criminally charged in the United States. Her family continues pursuing a civil lawsuit against her travel companions. All of Shanquella Robinson's friends that accompanied her on that trip to Mexico were Black. So here are the questions, and I only have two. Does the hashtag never be the only one offer meaningful safety guidance, or does it risk oversimplifying the factors that contribute to tragic outcomes like those involving Nolan Wells, Tamla Horsford, and Shanquella Robinson? What should parents prioritize when teaching young people about personal safety, avoiding certain social dynamics, based on race, developing strong discernment and intuition, or ensuring they always have a trusted family member or proven ally with them. And I'm sorry about the background. I was hoping I didn't get it up here. I couldn't be outside because it's raining. But anyways, that's my content, and there's still a lot of talk around Nolan Wells. There's been some development as late as of today, but that's not what this is about. My content is about, the hashtag never be the only one. Is it really the right message? Because, it's an unfortunate situation, but our children, when they travel with the right friend, I'll put it this way, like with Shanquella Robinson, her group of friends were Black. So is never be the only one the right message. Should we be teaching our children more on the lines of tap into their spirit of discernment, number one. And another thing that I would say is to always ensure that someone close with them, like a brother who's
Yeah.
close in age, maybe a cousin, someone who we know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that I would lean more towards that. But what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
I agree with what you said. I feel like know that you know who you're with.
Right.
At least, like you said, a family member or something like that. I remember when we were kids, just spending the night at someone's house was like a big thing. Like it wasn't easily happening. So I think they should carry that type of, discernment that parents carry for their children. Like if your parents wouldn't approve of this person, you don't need to be with them. You just need to know that you know who you're with. Yeah.
So I wouldn't, it's kind of a hard topic, and I know it's never be the only one, but there's too many scenarios where it happens where it's other people the same
Right.
ethnicity, the same culture. So, but I feel like people just don't know who they're dealing with. So it goes further. Sometimes you need to look at your surroundings. Why am I the only one? It's some things that you need to look at yourself and just try and figure out. And I mean, we talk about discernment, but when you start talking about discernment, to me, that's something that comes with maturity and the Holy Spirit and things like that. But I'm thinking just more of having common sense and using your gut feeling about people and having a way to fill out people to see what they're really about. Minnesota, the way that we came up, you also want your parents to know these people you dealing with, because a lot of times your parents be like, that boy ain't no good, or that girl ain't no good, you ain't going nowhere with her, or you don't need to. Now if you don't heed the advice of your parents and you go against them, then you suffer the consequences. Your parents and mature people around you are there to guide you, especially when it comes to the people that you're hanging around. A lot of times we can see when that person that's not a good person for you to be around. So, it's, you got to have some street sense. You got to have some, you got to know how to feel people out. And you got to know when people are faking too, and when they really don't like you. And I think that's another thing. We just take people at their word and stuff. And a lot of times they don't even like you. A lot of times they jealous of you. You don't even know. You don't even realize it. But it's a sad situation. And another thing I feel like too is the contact. He should have. I know he had contact with his mom, with his parents, or whatever. You got to make sure that you can reach your people and say something. If something went down before this happened and it wasn't right, text your mama, text somebody, let somebody know something going on, so we know what. At least we have an idea what happened.
What's going on? Yeah.
Right.
Now, also, ladies, I have a video and I know that, we want to, go ahead. So I'm going to play a video for you all also, because this happened in the wake of Nolan Wells. So let me go ahead and play that, and then we can discuss that a little bit. I actually have two videos, and then that'll be my content. So let me go ahead and play my first one. Um, it was just up there, so give me a minute. Mm,
Yeah. While you're getting that,
mhm,
I was just gonna say, like when I said know that you know who you're with, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a cousin or a family member. Some of us have, friends that we grew up with,
mhm,
that we know wouldn't let anything
Right.
happen to us. So,
mhm.
just having that one person that
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to let things like that happen. So it's just when
Yeah,
you're hanging with a group of people, especially I say more than four, you really need to have somebody with you that you
Right.
know.
And you need to have, we used to say ace, coon, boom sometimes. You
Hmm.
need to have,
right.
for instance, with me, it would have been Quita. Because
Hmm.
I know that no matter what, have me and Quita been, we done got into all kind of mischiefs together. We
Hmm.
done jumped out of two-story windows together, all kinds of stuff. But I knew she had my back. Now
Hmm.
Mm,
I'm grown and married, and I meet Quita and myself and her husband. And my husband was at dinner, and she was telling us about a situation that had happened with her daughter, one of her daughter's friends, and her daughter had got into a fight, but the friend didn't help her. But
mm,
she looked my husband straight in the face. She said, "I tell you what." If something happened at this table where you and Drika and you jump on her, you better believe she gonna have some help.
Hmm.
So
mm,
she's saying that to my husband, and we good and grown. But
mhm,
she's like, there's no way. So he should have had somebody that
Somebody
was
with you.
that for him.
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah. Now because I know we need to move, but here's a video I want you all to watch, and this is in the wake of Nolan Wells, while they're
Mhm.
saying never be the only one. But watch
Mhm.
this video.
Okay.
I ain't got no fucking kayak. You gotta learn how to swim.
That's fucked up.
Should we go on the left?
Yeah.
Fair. Tell them to hold off the back.
Everybody, you can swim down, River, you fucking retard. I think I'll just stay here. Bro! How am I gonna get you back home? You don't think Mama Marquise is gonna be worried? Hey, your mom? My mom's name. My dad's your mom is always worried about you. My dad's in prison. I think that's why. Because your dad's in prison. What the hell? Am I looking at you? Bro, we just go get a kayak. You have a fucking life jacket on, Marquise.
I'll just wait.
Bro, you have a life jacket.
No, I'm black. It doesn't matter. It's not gonna save me.
Bro, yes it does.
Bro, I'll just find a way. Hey. Hi. Yeah, they think I'm about to go back, but I can't swim.
Bro, you have a life jacket.
I'm gonna die.
I'm standing right
Hold
now.
on.
So I can just like hold on to the back of the head.
Put the handle right here if you want.
Yeah, I might drown.
You won't drown.
I'm gonna try to get over there.
You're not gonna drown. I promise you won't drown.
There you go.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Hey,
What's your
Oh,
name?
my name is Marquise. But everybody calls me Lavar because I go to like Danella.
are you okay? Are you okay?
Ma'am?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was okay getting over here. And they think I'm about to swim back. I can't even swim.
Doing a good job right now.
Probably not holding this. And it's my first time here.
It's your first
Oh, first time? Well, welcome.
Yeah.
How'd you get over here?
Yeah, what
They made me
happened?
take that way over there and they had 2 life jackets on.
I'm glad we ran
Oh,
into
you fucking pussy.
I'm never coming back with y'all.
Yo, we told you if you were coming, we had a life jacket.
A life
makes you
jacket.
float.
Same thing for a big kid. This for a little kid.
you. That's scary though if you're not used to water.
Yeah.
I just swim my pool in my backyard.
Yeah. Spring water's different.
It's a lot different, you know.
We're almost there. Ooh, the wind. I know, it's really strong. And there's a current. You're welcome.
Yeah, I'm never coming back with y'all.
See that big white?
No, what to say?
And fuck, his friends are fucking assholes.
Okay, we get it.
Okay. So this was a young black boy, Marquise, who was out at this lake with all white boys, just like Nolan Wells. And now the video to me was very eerie before he came into the screen. It even sounded like somebody had made a monkey, a chimpanzee,
Right, it did. It was.
and they was calling him an effing retard, just all this stuff. But then you have this white family here who thankfully helped them. And there's a video, and I have the video. I won't play the video because I know some of us are kind of pressed for time. But there's a video of the mother in this video. Who she said that Marquise is fine. She has reached out to the mother of Marquise. They have talked. They have planned an outing together, and they've even offered to teach Marquise how to swim. So that's just kind of an update. But this is a video again in the wake of Nolan Wells, and so again the question is. You can look at this video two different ways, never be the only one. Well, on one hand, you can say, well, yeah, but then on another hand, you have this white family who rescues this young black boy. So,
I feel like in that situation, if you are not a strong swimmer, you shouldn't be out there.
That's another
point blank period. When I was in Minnesota and I used to work for the Y, I could not swim. But we used to go on outings, and we would go up north and, in the lakes and stuff. And, and it was, majority white people there. But they always did a safety test with me to see how comfortable I was. I've never been afraid of the water, and I don't panic. But I always had on the right gear, and I was always around, it was always a mixed crowd of people. But I knew water safety. And to me, that young man, he shouldn't have even been out there.
He shouldn't have been.
Not have even been out there because he put his life at risk. And his mother,
well, I think his
mother should have known better too.
Yeah.
There ain't no way, I would just allow my boys out on some water and they're not strong swimmers. And it's one thing to be at a pool, but it's another thing to be at a live body of water like that.
Yeah, because that could have went a totally different way.
It could have.
And his mental capacity seemed very, very low as well. Because he said things like, I could drown. I'm probably going to drown.
And then there was one part where he said something like, my dad is in prison. He was, because they were yelling and stuff. So it was just, this video to me was very disturbing.
Yeah.
Now I had another video, I won't play it, but it was a video of a man who's saying he had the same experience as Nolan Wells, but thankfully he made it through. And then there are a lot of people coming out saying it. But again, I know we're pressed for time, but that was my topic for tonight. So this was good dialogue.
Yeah.
But when I think about it, coming up, there was this little white girl. Her name was Stephanie. I don't know if y'all remember her. But she was my friend. And Mama them used to let me walk over her house and go to her house. But what I don't think Mama them knew is that Stephanie them had a boa constrictor. They had a snake. And her mama would have that snake sitting out and she'd be vacuuming. The snake was up there on the wall. And I was perfectly comfortable with it. And I spent the night with them too. But something happened one night. I was spending the night at Stephanie's. It was her birthday. And them little girls got a Ouija board out. And they start calling on stuff. I sneaked downstairs so fast and called Dad and told him he had to come get me now. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I was like, you got to come get me. And sure, he came and got me, and I left. They didn't even know I had left. They up there playing with that Ouija board, trying to call some and stuff. And at first, I was up there, and as soon as they pulled out and that wind went through the window and that curtain blew, I said, oh, no. I went right on downstairs and all that, because I had enough sense even then. I probably was maybe 11, 12. That no, y'all ain't calling no fucking with me up here.
Right.
And to me, that was, even at that young age, discernment, was it not?
Well, we have been taught though.
And because we grew up in church.
I knew you don't call on no fire.
Right.
No, you're not with me in here. But I mean, it all goes back to you teaching your children.
Right.
And, we were taught certain things. Even like with my grandboys, I'm like, okay, when you're on this game, if they're talking about demons, if they're talking about this and that kind of stuff, you cannot do that.
Right.
So they'll come tell me, hey, Lolly, they just said this or they said that. If they get into something that's, that they should.
Yeah. So, so that, again, that was my topic. Again, I'm leaning on the side that I don't know that never be the only one. It should be, I don't know if it's the right message or it shouldn't be the only, I know for certain it shouldn't be the only message.
It should know who you're in.
And protect yourself. Whatever you doing, I think a lot of times we neglect that. Protect yourself. Like that little boy had on the life jacket, he should. He should
Mhm.
have had on a, if you know you
Mhm.
cannot, but you really shouldn't have
Right.
your butt out there.
He
But
shouldn't.
if you know you cannot swim or whatever, I
Mhm.
always wore a life jacket. I
Yeah.
always had the proper precautions because
Yeah.
I knew that I could not, that I couldn't swim.
Mhm.
But in that scenario, being out there in that water like that, no, you should
Yeah,
have
he
thought about
definitely shouldn't have
everything.
been out there. And again, with his his age, you know, I would blame the parents. He
Mhm.
should not have been out there.
Right,
Yeah.
definitely.
Especially with other children or other
No.
kids, you know. So
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Because culturally they do some things different than we don't do a lot
Mhm.
of water sports,
Right. We don't.
we don't, and they are stronger swimmers than us. They have better
Yeah,
buoyancy. It's just
absolutely.
what it is. I know that because I've taken swimming lessons twice,
Hmm.
and I still haven't mastered it yet.
Hmm.
But they that's one area where they are stronger
Hmm.
than us, and
Yeah.
that's in the water, and
Yeah.
I believe they know that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep. So that was a conversation. There's probably a lot more to come. That the conversation is going to come out of this Nolan Wells case. It's so much being said right now. So, but I just hope we want to again say rest in peace to Nolan Wells, and I just hope that his family finds peace and that the truth comes out. That's with this
Mhm.
case. Okay, Bo, you're up
Mhm.
next.
All right. Well, thank you for giving me a moment to speak. Now, my topic is about the water. There's been a lot of water. There's been a lot of raining. There's been tornadoes. There's been tsunamis and this type of things going on. Now, recently, about a week ago in West Hollywood, there was flooding, and during this flooding, there was also a massive sinkhole that they kept showing the massive sinkhole as well as it was a main that broke, a water main that broke, and some are speculating that there was neglect to this massive sinkhole, and that is possibly what's leading to the flooding. Now, surprisingly, this was my topic about the main break and the massive flooding in West Hollywood, which is a very prominent area where there is, you know, like $1 million homes and things like that. I just today, about a mile away from there, there was another water main broke. Today, and this was just a week after the massive pipe broke. So I mean, I was advised of some things about the water that they're losing is actually water that was meant for human consumption and human use. So this was clean water and water that basically was water that we're going to be needing. And then just to know that there's been another main break, since that time frame, it's just something that, has been piquing my interest. Also, that there's been flooding, there's been a lot of water damage that's happening across the East Coast. I mean, Veronica mentioned earlier that there's raining there in North Carolinas, and I saw in the news today that there's going to be a lot of raining in the Carolinas and just in the East, and so much water, so much going on with water. And I also saw that they were saying something about there are some hurricanes that are on the horizon. Bertha is one of them that they're talking about. Bertha is battling the ghost. The coast, the Gulf Coast. They're saying Louisiana is at threat from this Bertha as well as Mississippi. So I'm like, are we possibly going to see another Katrina type situation going on, or is it just, just something, just a sign of the times and just something to be expected to be happening?
Well, I think right now we are in hurricane season, I believe.
We're
Uh,
coming up on it.
yeah.
Hmm.
So I think it's a lot of it is to be expected. We have been getting a lot of rain here in North Carolina, but we are still in a drought. So we need
Hmm.
the rain. We
Right.
desperately need it.
Hmm.
But it has been bad. It has been harsh. I know I was at Yadrika's and I came home over the weekend. She just lives in 3 hours away from me, and on my way home, I was about 20 minutes away from home, and I saw that storm. When you're driving, how you can see the storm brewing ahead, and I seen that it was like that sharp lightning in the
Yeah,
sky,
I've seen a lot of that.
and then the sky just got dark, and as I drove, I was driving right into it. That rain, it just. And if
Hmm.
you guys know anything about me, I don't
You
like
don't like
driving.
driving. I know it.
I
Hmm.
get anxiety, but driving and something like that. And I was only 20 minutes away from home, and I just put my the emergency lights on. Everyone around me, all the other cars did it too, was just was driving as slow as I could without being a danger to anyone. But again, everyone else was doing it because the rain, it was just pouring down. And I got off on the first exit, and then I just stopped at a 7-Eleven until it passed. And yeah. But I think we're in the season, but I think, with global warming and all that stuff, things are definitely different.
Yeah, it seemed like Big Bertha just came out of nowhere, because I was like, I didn't even know it was one of them out there.
Right.
Because hurricane season usually starts June 30th. So we are in hurricane season. It ends on my birthday, November 30th. So it goes from June 30th to November 30th.
I always remember having really bad hurricanes around the August-September time frame. So I was thinking it was more August through November.
It starts in June. So the weather is getting worse and worse as we go. And they had already predicted that this summer was going to be hot.
Yeah,
and they had already predicted that there were going to be some bad storms that were going to come through. Case in point, the little town that we're from, Winona, they've been hit hard. Seemed like the last few years, and that's mid Mississippi. They've gotten snow, they've gotten almost hurricane-like tornadoes, and then you talk about a water main break. Well, they just had one Monday, so everybody woke up in that little town and nobody had water.
Yeah.
So, I think the infrastructure for water throughout the United States is pretty weak, because you continue to see different places battle with issues with water. The systems are old. They need to be replaced. Money hasn't been invested in the infrastructure like it should, especially in that little town in Winona. They've got grants and everything, and the water comes out brown, or red. You can't even have anything white. If you wash something white, it turns a different color. So I think over the U.S. in general, it's a problem with the infrastructure with the water. But I think with these bad storms coming through, it's going to get worse and worse for the water and clean drinking water for people, because these storms are going to continue to come through, and it's going to damage those weak systems even more.
Yeah. And because of the heat, you mentioned the heat, we know that because of the droughts and the heats, it calls for water. So, I guess it's just nature playing its part and doing what it's supposed to do. But then with there being so much heat, they say global warming, which is something that's caused by us. So I guess it all kind of ties in. Like nature is trying to do its job because of all the heat, and the heat is from global warming because of all the emissions we're putting in the air and things like that.
And I saw a saying the other day. Someone said Mother Nature is going to do whatever she got to do to clean the earth up. I've seen a saying that said, and I'm not big on Mother Nature, because that's kind of goes against my belief, but things are happening in the earth, and the Bible does tell us that in the last days there'll be a lot of groaning, the earth will be moaning, and that's what's happening right now. The earth is tired of us. We've treated it like crap. God gave us this beautiful earth, and it's just, man has just, look at the oceans and all the trash in it. I saw something the other day where one of the countries over off one of the Gulfs over by California, so they dump so much human waste in the ocean ever so often, and there was like a whole area with nothing but sludge. It just, then there's areas in the ocean where you go, like you've seen it on movies sometimes where they exaggerate it and it looks like nothing but a big garbage dump, but that's true. There are portions of the ocean that doesn't have anything in it but waste. And that's waste that we created, that humans have created. So I don't think that the weather is going to get better. Things are going to get better, because we haven't treated the earth very well.
Yeah. And the money is not being
spent
spent
on trees and all that stuff.
type of
It's
thing.
horrible. It's horrible. Yeah, and like EM, you sent me the video of the poor bear that it climbed up the light pole today and was electrocuted. Well, the poor bear didn't have anywhere to climb. The bears are they're climbers by nature.
Right.
people had climbed up the pole because it was in an area, the trees had all been chopped down for, like you said, humans, because they want to build whatever it is they want to build. And
Yeah.
so it's unfortunate.
And then what made that situation even worse? Humans made that situation worse too. Because what the observers said were people who are specialized with animals and stuff, they said that bear would have most likely climbed back down. But because all those cars had stopped and was taking pictures of him, it probably spooked him. So what he did was he tried to walk across the power line instead of coming down the power pole to get down. So, that's another situation where we just make things worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was panting. You could see the bear was panting.
Yeah, he was hot. Yeah.
And then there's so much money being spent on this war. This is money that could be used to, repair our pipelines and infrastructure and things like that. But
Right.
our president would rather spend money on wars and tearing up another country instead of rebuilding our own country where it needs to be rebuilt.
You have highways throughout the United States. I mean, you guys know I'm in logistics where truckers, if they drive through the highway, if they don't slow down, they'll tear their truck up. There's no way in the United States should have highways that bad with that much damage that they're not being repaired. That's our infrastructure. So it just amazes me that we can find money to send to Ukraine and fight all these wars, but we can't fix the simple things like keep our roads safe for our truckers and our travelers here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. Very unfortunate. Well, that was a good topic. Do you have anything else to add, Bo?
No, that was it. I just, been noticing all of the water and all of the rain and all of the hurricanes and just flooding and so much going on. It just piqued my interest and just said that's something that I should talk about. So my pleasure speaking on that.
All right. Well, you are up, EM.
So my topic is what is it? The illusion of beauty.
Delusion or illusion? Yeah, when I was looking at
Illusion.
some stuff,
It says
delusion,
illusion.
but
I
you
wanted
said
to say illusion.
Yeah.
So I was looking at stuff and looking at people, and I was looking at this one lady, and she just looked so pretty, and I was like, "That's a wig. That's eyelashes. That's a whole bunch of makeup." I can tell she done had cosmetic surgery on her body because it does not look natural. And her husband standing there with her and all that. And these are some people, so this is just one person. I'll give. It's one of Veronica's favorite people. I'll say his initials are JB and his wife. And I was just like that. It just looks so fake. It doesn't even look real. All the hair and the makeup, the lashes, and then
JB?
just think about it. So then I was
I
looking
know,
at,
I'm over here like,
then I was looking at another young lady, and she actually is in our family. She's on Facebook. She tatted all up, all on her, then she got on a wig, lashes, heavy makeup. And I looked in her eyes and it just looked void. I look at the other lady, I'm like, I don't see much to it. And I'm like, these people are the people our young girls look up to. So you see little young girls pulling their mama lace front out trying to wear it to school. They want eyelashes. Before they've even got 15, they done pull their eyebrows out. They've pulled their eyebrows out trying to, arch their eyebrows. They don't have any eyelashes because the mama letting them get lashes. Face is you're already dealing with acne, and then you want to put all that mess on your face. The illusion. It's an illusion, just like Cardi B.
Yeah, I didn't know that Cardi B had done all. I mean, I knew she had work, but I didn't know her behind was looking like this. I didn't know that. I really didn't.
It's an illusion. Now, Cardi B, she is an entertainer. So she does this for entertainment. Now, I would think that she could have got a better job than this. But, she does it for entertainment. But what the problem is, people look at a Cardi B who does this for entertainment and they want to do it for every day.
Right.
You know, they'll look at the way that she wears that heavy makeup and that hair, and they want to do it every day. Now I've seen Cardi B, various videos of her at home, and she don't have on all that, and she
Mm-hmm.
usually got on her natural hair. But people, our young people, and these women, these insecure women, they look at that, and you go to work like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go around like that. You go to a concert or you go somewhere with these shorts on that look like panties and stuff. These are entertainers. It's not real life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I'm just like, and it's an illusion. You
Mm-hmm.
know, because I be thinking, these young men today, y'all be attracted to all this, but when y'all get home, she gonna take the hair off, probably the teeth out, because everybody got a pair of them teeth. You know,
Mm.
the eyelashes come off, all that mess, the makeup come off, and who knows, the leg might come off. It might be a prosthetic. I don't know, but you don't know what you got.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know, you don't know, and I'm like, it's
Right.
like it seems like people are so empty.
Offline and then blend that out for the perfect base.
This here, this is a beautiful young lady. She doesn't need all this stuff. And maybe she's promoting products to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she does. But it's just too much. I mean, who can even afford all that stuff?
Especially for a daily routine, that is too much. Now, I mean, I'm all for, I'm a makeup girl. I like
Yeah,
makeup when
and
I'm
I like
going
it
out.
too.
But
But
yeah,
I want to look natural.
natural.
I
Yes,
don't
yes,
want to look
that's what
like
I mean.
somebody that I'm not.
Yeah, yeah,
And God made us all unique for a reason.
right.
So why do I want to contour my face so I look like somebody else? And
Yeah.
why do we have to have a trend for makeup? This is the trend, y'all. This is how we wearing our makeup now. Why can't you
Mhm.
just put your makeup on the way that you want to make it
Yeah.
on? I mean, case in point, there are three of us here. Monica has hair down her back. That
Mhm.
she's always had long hair. My
Mhm.
hair is short and curly.
Mhm.
I've always had fine, kind of curly hair, never got real, real long.
Mhm.
Veronica, your hair varies. You do different things with it, but we're all different textures, all different hair, all different skin tones, and God made us all unique like that for a reason. Why do we have to copy what other people do?
Mhm.
So I'm just like, it seems like something is lost because people are lost because it's an illusion. What
Mhm.
you're looking at is not really that person. How
It's,
are girls gonna know what they're gonna look like when they get older if we keep having all these facelifts and
yeah,
doing all this?
and I always say, and all like you see, like how a lot of people use the different filters and like this and
Right,
but I think it to me that's a gateway for you to, especially young girls who are not sure themselves. It's a gateway for you to have a very negative image of yourself
Self-image.
because
right,
yes, it's because then when that filter comes off and that all that heavy makeup comes off and you're looking at the real you, you know
You're never
right.
going to be
don't like
satisfied.
what you see, a lot of times. I don't know. I just think it opens up the door for you to have like you said, just a negative self-image. And when you sent me this I looked at some of the comments and honey, they was in there. They was like, oh yeah, they
Right. They encourage it.
yes.
They
Hmm.
encourage it. They encourage
Yeah.
it. Um, it's just like with the BBLs and
Mhm.
and the stuff like that. We talk about it steadily. I hear people talking about legs don't match and all that, but people are still doing it. And some people are risking their life and losing their life doing that. For what? For what?
Mhm.
So this was lash trends. So you look at the lashes, and I'm like, okay, I know everything is about sales and money.
Mm-hmm.
So, here we go now with the
Clicks
lashes.
and links.
God gave us lashes. I don't need to buy lashes and put them on. I
Mhm.
understand you might do something for a special occasion or something, but
Right.
I think some people do this stuff like for
Every
every
day.
day. And
Mm-hmm.
they can't leave their house. I've seen some women at the gym bring all this stuff, like they might be going to work afterwards, and they do all this at the gym in a Planet Fitness locker room. And I'm just like, it's too much. It just seems like it's just like a burden to keep.
Yeah, and to me, it almost looks like costume makeup.
Right, it does. It
Yeah.
does.
Well, I think about, we have these men who do drag and
Mhm.
they beat it up and make it look so gorgeous. It's kind of like some women, maybe they're competing with that. Maybe they feel like they have to compete with the drags because the drag queens, I mean, their makeup is immaculate and they go to the next level with it. So it's like when you got men doing it, then some women maybe they feel like they got to step up their game.
A man ain't never been
Hmm.
anybody I look at for my makeup or my
Hmm.
well being
Right.
or how to carry myself as a woman. I
That's
don't
right.
care how pretty or how good their makeup is. Men can't even use the same products like we do because their
Hmm.
skin
Yeah.
is different. So that's why they do a lot of that heavy coverage, is
Hmm.
because the makeup is not meant for
Hmm.
for a man's
Hmm.
skin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So but a lot of it, you are right, Monica. It
that's
does
what it
look
looks like.
like drag makeup.
Hmm.
That's what it looks like. And I just, it's like certain trends happen and people take it like, okay, that's what we doing now.
Hmm.
And there's something wrong with that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I don't know. I do kind of know social media plays a big,
Right.
social media has a big influence on people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know when we were growing up, stuff, we had different magazines and, on
Hmm.
TV and stuff that, I guess it kind of influenced us. It did, but I
Hmm.
don't think, I don't think it influenced us the way that social media is influencing these people today. It just
Right.
has a strong string hold on people. Social
Hmm.
media
Yeah.
does.
Yeah. Yeah. It does. And it's doing something to their minds.
Hmm.
And because
And it's
we
by
were raised.
design, I believe.
Yeah, we were raised to have dignity, to have respect. We were raised to have a wardrobe for certain occasions. You had a wardrobe for church. You had a wardrobe to play outside in. You
Hmm.
had a wardrobe for school. If something special came up, you had something to wear to that, something
Hmm.
special.
Right.
We've gotten to the point now. I'm like, at some point, I guess men ain't even gonna wear suits anymore.
Hmm.
The way, we went to visit a church last Sunday, and of course, my husband was dressed nice, like he always is, but he felt overdressed because they had on Jordans and whatever, whatever, and that's fine if your church does that. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but the Bible does tell us to bring God our best.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and it's fine to have Sundays like that sometime, but I just don't feel like it should be the style that we're just always dressed down.
Yeah.
Um, and that we're never, even when it comes to business casual at work, that has kind of went, depending on, for me, where I work, which site you're at, some of these people look like they almost got on pajamas at work.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, so it's like, you know, I don't know. I don't feel like people are putting forth their best version of themselves because they're
Hmm.
trying to be other people
Hmm.
and
And
trying to
not
be
being
the things
themselves.
they see. So
Hmm.
it is an illusion, and you're not actually seeing the real person. So a lot of times we're seeing illusions. So that was my topic today. I wanted to ask you guys, how do you feel about that? What do you think about that? What do you think when you see those women online who look perfect? Like totally, like makeup is
Do they
flawless,
look perfect?
hair is.
Hmm.
But do
Now,
do they look perfect is my
yeah,
question. I mean, I
that's
guess
that's how I feel.
do they look, because when, like I said, Ian, when you sent me, I was like delusion, because
Hmm.
some of this
Hmm.
stuff don't look good as people think it do.
Mm,
Yeah, I think that there was a point when it did look good, and people, they hadn't taken it too far, like the eyebrow thickening when you can still see the lines a little bit, and it looks kind of real. But now you just see the dark, they're drawing them on, and they totally look drawn on. And like you said, the hair, to me, a lot of it looks plastic, and then the makeup, it just doesn't look like real skin. So I mean, I've seen women who look perfect, for sure, but these ones who are makeup matted out and weaved down, that's not a perfect look to me. It's
hmm.
not. I don't consider that perfect. Now, not saying that people can't wear wigs and people can't wear weaves, but I don't know, there's just a way that, you should look, when you're just out and about. I just feel like, the dark eyelashes and the plastic looking hair, and the matted makeup, it just doesn't look natural. I mean, if it looks natural, then it looks good, but if it doesn't look natural, it doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm.
For me, when it comes to, we mentioned people, when people being out and looking presentable, to me, I may not like the heavy makeup and stuff, but it's makeup. And so, you know, do what you will, do what you please, with makeup. But for me, the
Right.
attire, and when I say the attire, I'm talking about in public
Mm-hmm.
places, especially where there are a lot of children, because there was this young lady who was at a it was a kids like pool park or something,
Yeah.
and had on
Mm-hmm.
this very revealing and
Mm-hmm.
skimpy, you
Right.
know.
Out
And so it's, to
swimsuit.
me, when you're in public, and a lot of these women wear, like you said, the shorts, up your behind, your butt cheeks showing. You might as well have your breast out. I said, I remember I was looking at some, and I said, there should be something called molestation of the eyes, because these people out here
That's a
molesting,
me.
they visually molesting these children, because you don't nobody want their children
To
seeing
see
all
all
of that.
that. Mm-hmm.
So when it
Yeah.
comes to makeup and stuff, yes, I may not care for it, but do as you please with that.
Yeah.
When you're showing your behind and all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
to babies, and no, there should be laws against that, and I truly believe that.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's
Molestation of the
indecent.
eye.
It's like, it's
Yeah,
indecent exposure. To me, to have your
yeah,
whole
Yeah, it
behind
is.
out,
yeah,
that's, if a man, if you walk out there with no pants on, they going to arrest you. They
yeah,
ought to arrest you when you got, because, I don't want to sit nowhere where you sitting there with your whole
yeah.
behind
Your
out.
behind all out. I remember,
Mm-hmm.
I forget what year it was, but there were so many young girls running around in the airport. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but really their behinds hanging up from up under their shorts. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you should be
You
afraid
still
to
see
even
that.
sit in a
Mm-hmm.
public place with your behind, touching stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind
Yeah.
of like that video I sent you of the lady talking about how people and their hygiene come into the shops and smell
Mm-hmm.
bad, and you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying, and get their smell, their scent all on things. And then they
Mm-hmm.
said, all right, she said, my children sit in these chairs and now they
Right.
got your behind smelling on them and
Right.
stuff. It's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's
Yeah.
kind of my take on it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think that even though the pants and stuff like that's like should be like that has to do with sanitation and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that alone, it shouldn't be. I was looking at these young ladies going to this concert in Atlanta, and when I tell you, the video and all that, I was like, you know what, this
Mm-hmm.
is ridiculous. And
I know.
who y'all doing it
I
for?
know.
Because are you doing it for who? Are you doing it for your
Mm-hmm.
friends and stuff? Because most men, that's not. They don't want that to take home to their
Yeah,
family.
Mm-hmm.
and that's what men have been
That's
saying.
right. That's
You
not
all are
right.
doing it for each other because we don't
Right.
like it.
You're
Hmm.
right.
Yeah.
That's not. They want to have fun with you, but that's it. They're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
fun with you, and that's it. Then you're not gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's all they want is fun. I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
but I was just, wanting to talk about, the illusion
Yeah.
of beauty, and that, I
Mm-hmm.
really wish people would come back to the more natural things,
Mm-hmm.
looking like themselves. When someone looks at all three of us, they should see some type of resemblance because
Hmm.
we're all related.
Hmm.
I've seen some people, they're so heavily made up and have on so much, hair and everything else, you can't even tell that this one is this one's sister.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can't. And then the older women that's killing me is the older women who doing these videos and saying this is what 65. They take 65 all over.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and then here you
Mm-hmm.
come in some young clothes and a wig,
Mm-hmm.
but you still moving like you 65. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, just be happy
Age
that God
based.
gave you
Whatever age you are.
65 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not knocking cosmetic surgery because I have had some.
Hmm.
So I do not knock it. Both of
Mm-hmm.
mine were medically necessary.
Hmm.
I haven't had any enhancements, just things that needed to be improved because there was no way to improve it without surgery. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not against it. I know one young lady who had her butt was literally pancakes. And no matter what she did, nothing would work. Now, in her case, she did need that little BBL, but she got it very modest.
Mm-hmm.
It was not a whole lot. It was just so she looked normal.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, I'm like, okay, I can see
See what
that.
you do. Mm-hmm.
But these people out here, where you can't get no pants to fit and stuff. You know, come on now. All
Now,
you
you
can wear
didn't
is
see the
fake.
one who needed a BBL because her behind was flat.
Hmm?
Did you say that?
Well, I felt like she was a very beautiful young lady, very beautiful, but she was conscious about it because I mean, Rocky, when I say pancake, I mean like she was mixed, and I think she got the other side, but she was literally nothing, like
Mm-hmm.
back straight down.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, in her case, I understand why she wanted it. She felt like
Right.
she needed it, and she, for her self esteem, she went on to win some Miss Texas and some beauty pageants and stuff with that BBL, honey.
Mhm.
But it was very modest.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It was nothing like what these people doing.
Yeah.
And then they get these BBLs and you can't wear nothing but leggings. Then you want to get the ones that got the thing that go up the crack. You know, so
To make it look even bigger.
right to separate it out. That look. I mean, I just, you know, what's
Yeah.
wrong? Is if you naturally got
Just
it,
do
someone else
you.
naturally got it. What's wrong? Okay, God didn't mean for all of us to have it like that.
Right.
We all are individually unique and beautiful in
Yeah.
our own way,
Yeah,
our own ways.
yeah.
And that's
But
how
that
it
was it. That was my topic. I wanted to talk about the illusion of beauty.
Mhm.
That was a good topic.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
we are
good.
right at 9 o'clock, so we did really good tonight, ladies.
All right.
Again, if you are joining our live, please hop down and comment, share, and like. We are Three Peas in a Podcast. Until next time, have a good evening.
Thanks for
Good
joining us.
night.
Good
Thanks for
night.
joining.
Good night.
Peace out.